the most important component of a conference is the content. What gets thought about last is the content. What gets thought about first is the glitz. Sorry, but that's just the way it happens so many times, but it shouldn't. Now, within the content, here's what happens. Everybody goes PowerPoint nuts, so everybody wants their PowerPoint, everybody has the same schedule, it all looks the same, and they present their story. They're usually given 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever. Some of them say, I don't need 30, we'll fill for an extra 15. Some say I need about 35, but they're given 15, so they squash it up. Wow, there's a whole host of things that mess up the content in a conference. But importantly, no matter how well you plan, and when I work with my clients, I sit down and I plan each of those components, we work out the time that's appropriate, we then link it all together and make sure that it all works as such. But what happens is you can't pick it every time. Things go wrong. So I want to just give you a little story about something that happened one time at the conference. And it was the keynote speaker right at the start of the conference. So I'd stood up, I was the anchor and the facilitator, and I'd got everybody going and got it started. And I'd introduced this guy and he came up and he was doing fine. He was an external keynote speaker and he was doing his presentation. I'm looking at my clock thinking about how we're going here, and his job was to go up until morning tea. And I'm sitting down the back with the AV guy and he just nudged me, he said, 2 more slides. And I looked at my watch and I thought, oh my goodness, he's going to finish about 15, 20 minutes early. Wow, what are we going to do here? This is going to be embarrassing. I've got 300 people in the audience. So I slid down the side and next you know he finished, and then he did the disaster. He said, any questions? And I'd said to him before, please don't do that. Say via me any questions, because I can facilitate them, I can raise them and lower them and get the timing right and so forth. Of course, then he waited and nobody knows what to say. So I had to jump up and stimulate the first question. After about 2 or 3, everybody had enough questions and they were done in about 15 minutes before morning tea. So off he walks. I then took what he talked about, put it into selling methodology, put it into their rationale, their circumstances, and just blended it together and made it all sort of work. And it came out really well. Off we went to morning tea. The managing director came up to me and he talks like this. I've got to use his terminology. He talks like this, Colin, it was interesting how this morning went. And I said, yes, it was, wasn't it, Chris? He said, yes. He said, I didn't know you were going to do that 15 minutes after that presentation. I said, nor did I, Chris. And he said, what do you mean? That wasn't planned. Oh, he said, but that blended so well. You wrapped it, you linked it, it made so much sense. I looked at him and said, that's what you pay me for. He said, correct. Now, the reason I tell that story is because, not that it's going to happen with every conference, but when you have somebody there who knows what's going on, knows how to do it, not a comedian, not a celebrity, but somebody who understands selling and marketing and what's actually being tried to get across in the message, that's what makes a conference buzz. My job at a conference is to link everything together and to make sure that it makes sense all the way along the line, to fill in any gaps, whatever it might be. There's a little testimonial I got from a lady one time at another conference where the guy got up, he was speaking, he was American, he's doing his bit, gets about 15 minutes in, he's having a panic attack and he sits down. I jump up, fill in for 15, bring him back on again. It looks seamless and nobody knew that he'd actually had a panic attack. Now, I'm not saying again this happens often, but it's knowing what to do and how to do it. And there are lots of testimonials on my website talking about that. Please consider carefully when you're putting a conference together, give the content all the emphasis and all the importance it needs. Make sure that it's facilitated and it's linked and it gets the outcomes you want, because that's what you pay for. Have a look at the website, you'll see what I mean.